Welcome to 48 hours on the bank with 𝗃𝗶𝗺𝗵, 4PB products, Willow Park Lake in, where are we, Ash? And what an amazing place this is so far. We've not been here long. We've had a walk round, found some fish quite close in, flipped a pair of rods out. We got one in the sling down here, quickly got the rod back out on the spot because we saw some more fish showing, and we're already into another one. So let's get this in the net, hopefully, and hopefully we'll have a brace of fish to show you in a minute. But so far, welcome to Willow Park. Right, well, as I said in that little intro, welcome to 48 hours on the bank of Willow Park Fisheries in Ash. I'm down here with my good friends from 𝗃𝗶𝗺𝗵𝗿 to do all things carp fishing PB products. As you've seen, we've already had one, this absolute scaly banger, as they like to call them nowadays, but we've got another one sat in the sling over there as well. So yeah, let's get this one back, let's get the other one out of the sling so we can show you that. And then we'll sit down and we'll have a bit of a catch up of what's been going on in my morning so far. But for now, what a great start. As I said just now, this is the second bite of the fast flurry of bites from just now. Not the biggest one in the lake, but beggars can't be choosers when you come out in front of cameras. So we'll slip her back, get the kettle on because I really need a cup of coffee. And yeah, we'll talk you through all things riggy and all things PB. But for now, bite number 2, let's see how the session goes. Right, so we've just had a lull in the action, so I thought, grab a cup of tea, let's fill you into exactly what's going on. We've got 48 hours on the bank for the PB Products Innovation Series. I've come down here with Ian Mitchell from 𝗃𝗶𝗺𝗵𝗿 to try and make a bit of a film about PB products and generally try and get a bend in the rods. So we've come through to Willow Park Fishery in Ash, which is a 10-acre lake, stacked full of some absolute stunning carp. And, you know, yes, I've already had a couple of bites, but there's some absolute nice ones in here to go for. So hopefully try and get amongst them later on. As I said, we had a quick walk around when I finally got here. I was meant to be here at first light, as ever with the M25 and the Dartford Tunnel. Took me the best part of 4 hours to get here with, you know, quite a few messages from Ian saying, where are you? Yeah, I'm still sat in the same place going nowhere. So as anyone knows with the M25, it's more like the car park, but finally made it here. Went for a walk around, found a few quite close in, so quickly got the gear, flicked 2 little mesh bags out quite close. It's a forgotten art nowadays. No one ever fishes tiny little mesh bags anymore. It's all about runny rigs or solid bags, but hey, I'll stick to my old ways of doing things. But in the meantime, I have put the leading rod out, you know, quite a bit of range, just try and find a bit of depression out there to try and get something going. So hopefully we'll get a bit of food out there in a minute, try and get the rods on the go out there, hopefully try and get amongst some of these bigger ones. But in the meantime, I'm going to sit down, have a cup of tea, try and go through some of this PB product stuff with you, and hopefully you'll be able to learn a few tips and tricks for yourself. So for now, kettle's going to go on again. And I think it's Ian's turn to make a cup of tea. Catch you in a bit. So I just thought I'd sit down whilst we had a bit of a lull in the action and just run you through a couple of our main lines that's available on the PB products list at the moment. So if you're like me, I'm an avid braid user wherever possible. Obviously, you've got to go to fisheries that allow braid, so always check the rules before you start spooling up with this stuff. But we do a bottom line braid, which is a 0.23 diameter. I'm not a great fan of looking at breaking strains. I always look at diameters, something I got taught many, many years ago that, you know, people are listing as 0.35 and it'll be some horrendous breaking strain. So I just like looking at diameters. So 0.23 and it actually sinks. You know, something of that diameter you would usually cast as a casting line, which would mean it'd be neutral buoyancy or floating, but this stuff actually sinks. And the one good thing about it, even though we are of a small diameter, is, you know, it's literally, the abrasion resistance is like a cheese wire. It's cutting into this bench. Sorry for damaging your bench, but it is literally like a cheese wire, and will cut through every bit of, you know, weed bed or whatever it is that you're fishing to out there. That's my braid. What else have we got? So we've got the Dragonfly fluorocarbon, which is an out and out pure fluorocarbon, sinks like an absolute brick. I'm not going to go too much into fluoro. It's been done to death by every brand going. It is an absolute brilliant line for if you've got a clear water and you're trying to conceal everything. So yeah, go and check out the Dragonfly fluorocarbon if you're in the market for that. We've also got the Control Mono. Now, that stuff is tough as old boots. You can literally tow your car with it if you put, you know, the 0.43 and wrap it around a couple of times. I reckon Holmes probably has towed his car with it because he loves it that much. All different braking strains, diameters. Go and take a look at that. If you're in the market for a new monofilament, go and have a look at the PV Control Mono. But some people like fluoro, some people like mono. So we thought, right, what's the advantages, disadvantages? Well, fluoro, absolutely brilliant, sinks like a brick. But as anyone who's ever played around with fluoro knows, it casts like absolute rubbish. It fraps, it causes issues, it wants to twist up. Mono, you go into a mono, it might not sink as well as a fluoro. It's got great abrasion resistance. So we thought, right, what's the next best thing? Well, 𝗲𝗷𝗺𝗶𝗹. It's a new line for PV products. It is a cross between, as the name sort of says, it's a hybrid between fluoro and monofilament. So we have got a monofilament inner core with a fluorocarbon outer in this lovely green colour. So we've got it in two diameters, 0.35 and 0.40. And if you are looking for a line that can cast, we can easily, you know, we're here casting 20 wraps quite easy, no stress, no fraps, no issues with it. So if you are in the market for something of a bit of a crossover that's got a bit of forgiveness to it, a small bit of stretch to it, but you want the sinking properties of a fluoro, go to your local PB stockist or even look at us online, take a look at it. It's due into shops anytime now. So it seems like margin spots have dried up a bit now. The fish look like they have really pushed out into the main body of water. Funny enough, one's just topped out over the top of me now, so if you see me doody off, that's because I've got a bite. But yeah, so had a bit of a lead up earlier on with a marker float. Everything out there seems to be predominantly gravel. I'm not a great fan of fishing on gravel. Where possible, I try and fish in the silt, dirt, detritus, whatever you want to call it. I just find it easier to hide your rig components in silt than clean gravel. But that's just my opinion, obviously. So found a spot out there. It's quite shallow, but I wanted some food out there for them to come on. They seem like really hungry fish. Now there's a lot of fish in willows, and you know, being 10 acres, there's not really a lot of place for them to go to. So I thought I'd put a load of cell out there, which I soaked yesterday, and a load of smart liquids. Now obviously the smart liquid getting into it, penetrating into it, makes it real heavy. It's going to hit the bottom and start working for me. And I'm not being funny, what day ticket in the UK hasn't seen a cell in some form or manner? You know, they see it as a stable food diet for them now. They've seen enough of it. So I thought that was my best opportunity to try and get a bite on here. But, you know, my rigs are basic and simple. There's not a Ronnie rig inside. It's just a basic hair rig, which, you know, we can run through tomorrow and show you a few simple tips and tricks for trying to just tie basic, simple rigs, because they catch and they work. You know, just because they're out of phase at the moment, don't shy away from them. Cool, that one was clean out of water over there. So yeah, we can run through that tomorrow. Just show you a few basics on them, and yeah, let's see what tomorrow brings really. But for now, it's about time Ian decided to put the kettle on because it's his turn, and I've been T-boy all day whilst he's been running around with a camera on me. And then we're going to get a barbecue on the go, have some nice food. But if we don't catch anything between now and when it gets dark, I will catch you in the morning for a quick morning update and hopefully run you through a few products from the PV market. So, bit of a morning update. Yes, I have moved since last night, and yes, I have had a good night's sleep. Nothing really to report through the night, which was a bit strange because I was going into bed feeling quite confident after nicking a few bites. I did royally get turned over, but that's the joys of fishing, otherwise it'd be called catching. So, what's our report this morning? Not really a lot. Looks like the fish have done the off out of this swim, and as you can probably see behind me, the bivvy is packed away. And as ever with me, I can't sit still, so it's going to be a case of getting on my toes and going for a walk around the lake, see if we can try and find them somewhere, hopefully to get a move on. But probably one thing I did want to say that happened last night, and this is a major thing for me, and it's all about safety when you're on the lake. Now, sat there quite nicely, even made dinner last night, even made a cup of coffee as well, which I was quite surprised about. Sat there looking across the water as you do, and all I can see is this body walking along in the lake. Now, yes, the water level is down, but that doesn't mean that just because you've cracked off a spawn that you should be ever walking out into a lake, regardless how well you think you know the lake, or you've been fishing it forever, or it's a gravel pit or whatever. Lakes change day by day, week on week. Do not jeopardise your own life for the sake of getting a 10-pound spawn. You know, go and speak to a bailiff the next day, tell him that you've lost some gear in the lake. He'll probably go out in a boat and go and get it. All it took was for that young lad to go out there, find a silt depression that he wasn't aware of, and he's straight down. You know, the lake, obviously the lake owners weren't aware of it, but I saw it with my own eyes last night, and I just stood there in disbelief of what I saw just to get a spawn back. It's fishing, it's supposed to be enjoyable, it's supposed to be a leisurely sport. Don't risk your life just for the sake of a spawn. Get a bailiff, get him to go in a boat if needs be to go and get it back, and enjoy yourself. But for now, I'm getting on my toes. I'm going to go and try and find these fish, so hopefully we can get the rest of this film sorted out. And yeah, hopefully we'll catch you in a bit. On this session, I just thought I'd run you through the rig and the components that I've been using. Now, we seem to be in an age of Ronnie rig ruling the world. I am not knocking the Ronnie rig at all, but it's just not my go-to sort of rig. I grew up tying rigs from scratch, and you know, just going back to it is more my thing. So yeah, basic simple rig. When you come to a dating venue, you don't have to overcomplicate things. So I just thought I'd run you through the exact components that we've got on here. So yeah, let's run you through exactly how we tie it, and hopefully you might be able to take it into your fishing and maybe put a fish on the bank for you. So yeah, let's get into it. First of all, my choice of animal, which is the 𝗲𝗷𝗿 jelly wire, 25 pounds. It's stiff yet supple, if that makes sense. Absolutely no sense to me, but it's stiff enough to keep the rig out, but not so stiff that it sticks up over the contours of the lake beds, any sort of stick stones, whatever it is you're fishing over. What we do with that, don't use your teeth, people. Get a stripper tool, use your nails, whatever it is, but try to not use the teeth. It makes me cringe every time I see people using their teeth to strip these off. Just strip yourself a nice little section off. So now we're exposing the inner core, nice and neat. Cut yourself a section of it, plink off. Doesn't matter about the length of it, we can sort that out after. Get yourself a 𝗶𝗶𝗺𝗏 Products wide circle hook. As I said, this is a size 6. This one is a barbed one, but I'm only tying this one up for the sake of the film because I've only got a few barbless ones with me. We are going to go through the back of the eye, pull it through. As I say, don't worry about the tag end, I always just leave them off. So we've got a couple of inches in old money, if you want to call it that, poking out the back ends. Now, I see a lot of people do this wrong. Is it a right or wrong? I don't know. But where the hook is made, the wire comes round on itself. So you've got a bit of the hook which is bent and a bit which is where it ends. You always want to start your knotless knot where the wire bends round and not where it ends. Otherwise the braid will get cut into by the wire on the hook itself. So, you know, tie it round a good few times. This stuff is tough as old boots. 4 or 5 turns, something like that. And then always through the back of the eye, poking out. So we've got a very, very simple knotless knot, which is where most people started out, and people have forgotten how to do it. Get one of our lovely little downforce tungsten liners, thread that on, got it just over the eye. Now, I've seen people throw these aligners on and not check to make sure that they're nice and neat and tidy on there and all in lines. So we've got a bit of movement, so we've got a bit of exposed braid there, and then I get myself a nice little micro rig ring, thread that onto the hook like so, pass the hook link through the rig ring, back through that loop you just made where you've passed it through, and then back through the rabbit hole. And pull that down nice and tight. And that comes down to personal preference of where you want that set. So we've got a nice little blowback rig with the resetting properties, if you want to call it that. I'll go round about where the barb is. Excuse me. I'm going to have to get the old pliers out because I need to adjust it slightly to where I want it, because I don't use my teeth. There we go. Just like that. And then it's a case of picking your desired length. Depends on the lake bed you're fishing on. Do yourself a nice little figure-of-8 loop knot, because as I said, we're fishing a quick change. Wet your knot down, pull that down nice and tight. Now, here comes the versatility of this now. So we have got a very, very basic rig here. We can either make this hair so we can have bottom bait, we can trim a bottom bait down and put a nice little pink pop-up or half a pop-up. So leaving the hair like that, that then gives me choices of hook baits that I want to use. So as I said, right now we're fishing hard on deck, so I will get myself nice little 15mm bottom bait. Always mind your fingers when using needles. And just measure it up to where I want it. Now, I don't really want a really short hair. I'm not a great advocate of short hairs when it comes to bottom baits, because it's sat on the floor. I want them to suck it all up and then give the hair enough room to manoeuvre and do what it needs to do. So I offer it up, tie it off, and a lovely little, just a nice little overhand loop knot. Stick your bait on, get your boilies stop on it, and we are pretty much done. That is as simple as I ever want to make my fishing. We can put 2 blobs of tungsten putty on there. I don't really want to get any more technical on my rigs. They're tried, they're tested, they work, they've worked forever, but if you want to do one more added bonus to it, everyone keeps talking about them. The shot on the hook rig, PB products have had shot on the hook beads for God knows how long, forever. So if we really want to make this super aggressive and just put it to the next level, we can just get one of these little shot on the hook beads, slide it on, bring it round, and now we have got a very, very heavy pointed devastating rig that can reset very, very easily. Because let's face it, we all get done at some point, so it's just about resetting and being able to have the trap set, and a fish will slip up, and yeah, that would do. Simple yet effective, and no swivels or jingly jangly bits in sight. So give it a go. Go back to the old school way of fishing, because I guarantee you, as proven, this style of angling still works. So bit of an evening update for you of what's been going on really. Not a lot. The sun has been absolutely beaming out the sky. The fish have been all on the surface all day long. If you was allowed to surface fish here, you'd probably have an absolute field day. Unfortunately, the rules here say no surface fishing, so the surface rod is well and truly locked away. Albeit we have done a move to the swim next door. So literally we've gone from that peg there to this peg here, because there is a hell of a lot more fish out in front of this peg than the peg that I was in last night. So what have we done? Well, all we've done is pretty much reset everything that we was doing to begin with. Basic simple rig, 2 little mesh bags, because as I say, it's only 2 rod rule, 2 little mesh bags, flicked them out quite close because all the fish seem to be quite close in. I'm not trying to go to the far horizon, absolutely no need to, they're happy cruising about. At some point, I'm hoping they're going to drop down and get a bit of a small little mouthful, little parcel of bait. One of them's got me up with it, and yeah, hopefully try and nick a bite before we have to go in the morning. But for now, I think it's time to get the dinner on the go, have some food, hopefully get a bite, but failing that, you know, it's been great being on 𝗲𝗶𝗺𝗶𝗹. It's been an absolutely lovely lake, but I will be on the road first thing in the morning before that lovely road that is the M25 gets absolutely gridlocked. So if we have a fish, I'll catch you later. If not, tight lines, good luck. Go and check out the 𝗶𝗶𝗺𝗶𝗵 products website. Well, that comes to the end of the trip. Nothing through the night, to be honest with you. It looked more like they're going to start turning on to spawn. If anything, the water level's really low. The sun has been out, beaming down all yesterday. So they look like they was starting to get ready to start spawning again, but who knows. I've enjoyed my trip here. It's been a great time spending, you know, on the bank with Ian and the guys from 𝗃𝗃𝗺𝗿. So thank you to them guys for having me. But yeah, for now, I'm going to the cafe. I'm going to go and have some breakfast, get on that horrible road that is the M25, and yeah, I'll catch you on the bank somewhere. Go and check out the 𝗶𝗶𝗺𝗶𝗵 products website for anything that's 𝗶𝗶𝗺𝗃𝗃 products.